Hi, I'm Kathy with the Delafield Quilt Company. Today I'm going to show you how to make the Courthouse Steps Log Cabin Quilt Block. This is the third of a three-part series we have on log cabin blocks available on our YouTube channel. I hope that you enjoyed the tutorial. So let's go through the fabric that you're going to need to create a 9" by 9" finished square. For the lights, you're going to need one 1.5" by 1.5" square. You're going to need two 1.5" by 3.5" rectangles, two 5.5" by 1.5" rectangles, two 7.5" by 1.5" rectangles, and finally two 9.5" by 1.5" rectangles. And then for the dark fabrics, for fabric A, which we'll call this fuchsia type color up here, we're going to need one 1.5" square, one 3.5" rectangle, one 5.5" rectangle, and finally one 7.5" rectangle. And then you're going to need the same for fabric B of the dark fabric. So if you're going to make a pattern out of this similar to what I did, I chose to do this kind of in a diamond fashion. It's often easier to cut your fabric for at least one column of the quilt out first and then to lay it in order, so when you're sewing these, you make sure that you're doing the next color for the next block so that it creates this natural diamond shape as you sew the pieces together. So I'm going to go ahead and just move my pieces and get them in order, so I sew them in order. And you'll see I have another set of the same one down below. That's going to start my next block, so I'm going to have that laid out as well. But for now, I'm going to just sew this first block to show you how this comes together, and it comes together pretty quickly. So you're going to start with your center light fabric, and you're just going to sew it to one of the dark fabric squares. You're going to use a 1/4" inseam to sew this. Once you have that sewn, you're going to press the seam away from the center square. Then I'm going to add the next square from the other dark fabric. Okay, now that we got our center piece sewn, we're going to start sewing basically in, out, to the smallest size strip to the larger size strips. And we're going to start, the next row is going to be these light fabrics. And I'm just going to align it up and do a 1/4" inseam again. And again with the other side, I'm going to line up the light. It should match perfectly if your seams are on and your fabric's cut to the correct size. So I'm going to do again a 1/4" inch on there. Okay, I've got both of the white strips sewn on, and then I'm going to press again away from the center. And then I'm ready to go with the dark, and just make sure that your dark strips match if you're doing that diamond pattern. Or if you're doing a scrappy look, then it doesn't really matter, I guess. And this should line up pretty well. And you're going to sew a 1/4" inch again, and you're going to do the same with the bottom one. Again, press your seams away from the center. And then we're going to move on to the next light fabric, and we'll just sew it again. Alright, now we're ready for the next two darks. And we're just going to keep repeating the process until we put all of our strips on. our courthouse steps log cabin block is done. Thank you for joining us today at the Delafield Quilt Company. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you like us, please subscribe and visit us at www.delafieldquiltco.com. Thank you. Have a great day.